Hello, assalamu alaikum. Welcome to my channel. Compliments of the seasons, everyone. I hope we are doing great and super charged and excited for what the year holds. Okay, so today I want to share some things I noticed at a national hospital here in Abuja. A friend of mine was recently admitted there and she spent all of 12 days. And within that 12 days, boy, did I see a lot of stuff. I experienced a whole lot of things that shouldn't be happening in a system like that, but it is actually happening. So I decided to make this video because I posted about some things on social media and I had a lot of people come out to actually say, you have not even seen anything, they've experienced it, they're used to it. And it got me wondering, like, is it supposed to be like that? Are we supposed to say we're used to it? It's like someone suffering and then you're trying to find them a solution and they just tell you, I'm used to suffering, like we should just accept it. I feel like it is really bad. And when you talk of government agencies, organizations in Nigeria, you will see that there's this nonchalant, rude attitude that is always attached to it. And it makes me wonder why. Like, you applied for this job and you wake up in the morning, you come and frustrate everybody else that actually works, through that door. I feel like it is terrible. Now, I did not know that that behavior has transcended into our health system. I feel like when you talk of health, it's something that we shouldn't joke with. And it's so unfortunate that health is part of fundamental human rights of every citizens of a nation. But unfortunately, in Nigeria, even that we don't have it right. So we went into this hospital. First of all, let's not talk about how we were there from 8 a.m. and she didn't get to see any doctor till around 3 p.m., which I find ridiculous. This girl was literally lying on the bench on her mom's lap. She was lying on the bench there. These doctors will pass, these nurses will pass. Not one stopped to find out what exactly is the problem, which I find very weird. You will never find such a thing in the private setting. And it bugs me, like, is this how people are really treated in a public system, and why have we been quiet about it? So anyway, it reached 3 p.m. before she could see any doctor to attend to her and find out what was wrong. And then they admitted her, talking about how her case was, an emergency. It's very critical, very crucial. I was expecting to see, okay, if you say something is in, it's a case of emergency, definitely it needs all hands on deck and stuff like that. But to my surprise, none of the nurses really attended to her. They just gave her, they just admitted her, put drips on her, and that was basically it. They didn't attend to her, nothing. Yeah, they asked us to go and do scan, which we went and we did and all that. And of course, it was on a Friday. So basically, she was just on drip. Not one of the nurses would actually come and ask, how are you feeling? How are you doing? Nothing, which I find very strange. It wasn't like she was attached to a machine to know her heart rate, pulse, or whatever. They just come and do their normal morning rounds of blood pressure, heart, and all those things, and then they go. They don't come back again. And you will go and call them 10 times. They will not show. You probably say, okay, this person is complaining of stomach ache. I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm like, it got so frustrating that I was like, okay. I was keeping my cool because a lot of time when I go to places like this and I see things that are not right and I speak up about it, next thing you hear is, oh, she's new here, or she's trying to be a diva or something like that. So I was like really trying to keep my cool, so that I don't cause or create any scene there. But I couldn't hold it for long. That's the honest truth. At some point, we had a fallout with the nurse and the doctors, and then they realized, okay, wait, this girl knows her right, and then they humbled themselves and started doing the right thing. But I feel like, why do we let things get to that extent where you have to get really verbal or physical with people before they actually realize, like, okay, wait, this one is not like those kind of people that we will treat anyhow. So I feel like it's sad. But anyways, she wasn't really attended to nicely, and she was there. The doctor came and was like, okay, she's going to need surgery, blah blah blah. And we're like, okay. Surgery was scheduled, and this doctor came. We're asking him questions like, is there another alternative? What is the way out? What exactly is this surgery for? Because we are in the dark. You people have not explained anything. Apparently, he got angry because of that. He cancelled the surgery. And I'm like, that was where I lost it. That was literally where I lost it. And I was like, we're moving. I gave them a piece of my mind and I'm like, you know what, we're going to leave. But then they were like, no, they're sorry, they're going to fix it, blah, blah, blah. Disha fixed it and she was scheduled for the surgery the next day. Now, we went for the surgery. Another thing I noticed again was after the surgery, they didn't have painkillers ready for her. Like they literally performed surgery on her, brought her out of the theater, and just kept her there. She was in pain. She was literally screaming in pain. I walked in there and I'm like, what's going on? I asked the nurse that was seated there, I'm like, what's going on? I don't like the way she's breathing. What's happening? And the nurse said to me that it's no problem, she's just in pain. I said, is there no painkillers? And she said, there is, but the attendant that is supposed to go get it from the pharmacy is not available. So they are waiting for him to come. I'm like, you guys just performed an operation, didn't you? She said, yes. I'm like, does it make sense to you? Is this not something you guys should have ready for when you need it? He said, yeah, the attendant will come and go and get it. She was in so much pain. I was like, let me go get it. They refused. Later, when the attendant came, he wasn't able to get it. Last, they gave me the prescription. I had to go and get it, and I brought it. And I felt like that was off. You shouldn't do that to a human being. You shouldn't do that. Just because it's a public setting does not mean that they are not humans that come here. Okay? And I found another thing very interesting, which is the bill. Right? Everything here you are seeing is receipt upon receipt upon receipt. This is basically everything we pay for in the hospital. And you see, this is a full page. More. These are things we pay for. Now, I don't really mind spending money for my health, right? But I mind spending money on ridiculous things. So I'm going to mention some few things that I find very ridiculous here. And I want you to total it. Now, I'm not going to mention everything. I want you to total just these few ones that I'm going to mention that I find very ridiculous. I want you to total it, and I would like us to reason how many average Nigerians can afford just that amount for those nonsense things in a month, in a year. Do you understand? Some people don't come across that kind of money in a year, and you expect them to come and pay it. Let's not talk about the money for the surgery, which is about 200,000, 150 for the main surgery itself, and then 50 for consumables. Now, okay, I get it. Surgeries are normally expensive. But then again, how many Nigerians can afford it? It didn't make sense to me that it's that much. And then there's something they call inpatient emergency consumable. Now that is 15,000 naira. If you don't pay for that, they don't even admit your patient. This is a bag that comes with syringes, needles, just basic stuff. That's 15,000 naira. If you don't pay for it, they don't admit you. It comes with the whole bedspread, those blue things they put on the bed and whatnot. And then again, the hand gloves, 5,000 naira. We have gone to 20,000, right? Aside the 200 for the surgery. How many average Nigerians can afford that? And then what even made me, I don't know if I would say annoyed the most, is this consumable weekly that amounted to 13,000 naira. Do you know what that is? That is for the light and water you use in the hospital. The light in your bedroom, just like the light here, and the water in the bathroom. And that is 13,000 naira. And then there's also another 3,000 naira in the name of syringe and needles. And we asked, in the emergency kit that we bought, it had different syringes and needles. And this person said to us, well, that's just for the emergency. Now that they have moved you to a room, you have to buy the syringes and needles. I'm like, they are literally there in the bag. Why are they not using it? So that's hospital policy. I'm like, okay. And then there's something they call nursing care, which amounted to 6,000 naira. And I'm like, why do I need to pay a nurse that is rude to me? This nurse literally did not do anything. At a point, when this girl was throwing up, I literally ran to her because it was after the surgery she was throwing up. I was worried, like, okay, is there something wrong? I went to the nurse and I told her, this lady is throwing up. Could it be like there's something wrong? She said, I'm coming. She came and looked at her and she goes, sorry, oh. And she went back. Why am I paying you 6,000 naira for exactly? Why? And then there's also another 6,000 naira for just medical care, like general care for the hospital. So I'm really, really trying to understand all these figures and how the average Nigerian can afford it. Let's not talk about the blood. The doctor requested we pay for blood for the surgery, and they needed about 3 units of it. Now, when I went there, it was so funny. I was asked to pay 8,000 naira per unit. Apparently, the 8,000 naira is for the donor. It's called donor's fee. Now, I don't know, when you guys go to donate blood, do they pay you? Because they've never paid my sister. So do they pay you? Because they are collecting 8,000 naira in the name of donor's fee. That's times 3. And then there's 10,000 naira for the treatment of the blood per pack. 10,000 naira. That's 30,000 naira. So yeah, if you've been following, I want you to do the math and tell me how the average Nigerian can actually afford. This is like 3 or 4 things that I've mentioned out of this list. And on this list, we have about 33 items. 33 items. So tell me how the average Nigerian can afford it. Because we always talk about Nigerians don't like going to the hospital. Nigerians don't like going to the hospital. Where is the hospital for them to go to? Is it the man that is busy trying to feed his family that you want to come and pay this amount of money for hospital bills? If it's a government hospital, what is the government providing? How are they making life easy for the patient if you are paying for something as little as 3,000 naira for syringes and needles? Or you're paying for hand gloves? So how are they making it easy for the average Nigerian? Now I'm saying this, I've been saying this. A lot of people tell me, oh, you worry too much, you do this, you do that. The truth is, I feel it is not fair. If I can afford treatment in the private sector, why shouldn't I think of those that can't afford it in the private and not even able to afford it in the public system? That's too much. That is too much. So I feel we should stop accepting things as part of us. We should start accepting things as, it's Nigerian, we'll get over it. We won't get over it if we don't do something about it. These people take this rude attitude because they did it once, and whoever it is that they did it to accepted it. But I cannot be paying you money for a service and you are rude to me. Like, I can't. It's not possible. So I believe it's about time we start doing these things. We start lending our voice. We start checking all these things. You're not doing it for yourself. Do it for your friend. Do it for your neighbor. Do it for somebody. Just do it for the heck of. You have the power, the capacity to do stuff. I'm sitting here today making a video talking about my experience at this national hospital because it needed to be out there. I don't have a national hospital card. I don't even use them. But I'm speaking about it because there's someone somewhere that needs treatment but can't afford it because of this huge bill. There are people in that hospital that they're discharged, but they're not able to go home because they've not paid the money. So I feel like if it's actually a government hospital, they need to review it. From the attitude of the staff to this whole unnecessary billing. These are bills. These are bills from the hospital. These are all bills. Bills. How can the average Nigerian afford it? So I feel we need to check it because education and health are fundamental human rights. But it's unfortunate that in Nigeria, this is 2022 and we still don't get it right. Like, we still don't. So I feel we need to lend our voice. We need to check these things. We should stop accepting it because the one thing I kept getting was they are used to it. People are used to it. People are, many people that speak up, they tell me they are used to it. How are you used to it? How? Many of their hospital rooms don't have fans. They don't have ACs, nothing. They want to operate on you, they will tell you, madam, tell your family to bring fan from the house because it might get hot. I don't understand. And you're still charging me 13,000 naira for consumable, light and water. What am I using the light for? So I feel we need to speak up about this. If you've experienced this, please let's share our experiences and get the word going that this needs to change. We need to change. We need to start demanding for our rights in Nigeria. They need to stop treating people like animals. Rich or poor, we're human beings first. Okay, so please, if you've experienced any one of this, I would like to know your take on it. And if you have a way out on how we can actually tackle all these situations, I also like to hear about it. Do not forget, leave it in the comment section while you like, subscribe, and share. Until I come your way again next time, bye.